Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Saidi Iskandar bin Abdul Hadi, and today I would like to present to you guys about the reflection of culture and practice between the Malaysia and Mexico. For this part, this is the table of content that show what we have in this presentation. First is the global work culture. Second, why work culture matters globally. Third, home states culture, dimensions theory. And fourth is the cultural background. And the fifth one, workplace aspect digital media. And for the last one is the conclusion. Today, I'm going to talk about the work culture in global context and how cultural differences can affect the way people work together. And first of all, work culture is referred to the shared values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors, and it shapes how the people behave in the workplace. This includes how people communicate, how they work in teams, how the decisions are made, and how employees are rewarded. And globally, work culture is not the same everywhere. Different countries have different social norms, traditions, and histories which influence how people think and act at work. And because of globalizations, people from different cultures now work together more than ever, so understanding work culture has become very important in this time. For this part, why work culture matters globally? In today's world, many companies operate internationally, and employees may work with the colleagues, managers, or clients from different countries. And if you don't understand about the cultural differences, it can easily lead to be misunderstandings. And for example, what is considered polite in one culture may be seen as rude in another country, and different expectations about leaderships, communications, or decision making can cause a conflict with other country. And however, when people understand about the global work culture, it helps to improve teamwork, communications, and productivity. And it also creates a more respectful and inclusive workplace. Alright, to better understand about the cultural differences, we can use Hofstede cultural dimensions theory introduced by the good Hofstede. Alright, this theory helps us to compare the cultures based on how people behave in the workplace. Hofstede identified several dimensions such as power distance, individualism versus collectivism, and uncertainty avoidance. And these dimensions are widely used in international business and management to understand how the national culture influences the workplace behavior. Today, I will focus about the power distance, individualism versus collectivism, and uncertainty avoidance. Now, let's look at Malaysia and Mexico. Both countries are considered as a high context culture, which means communication is often indirect and relies on the body language, tone, and their shared understanding. In Malaysia, people value politeness, respect, and harmony, and communication tends to be indirect, and people try to avoid the confrontation with the other employees. But in Mexico, communication is also a relationship-based, but it is more expressive and emotional. People often show their warmth through their gesture, tone of voice, and personal interactions. So, although both countries share some similarities, but the way culture is expressed is different. Alright, let's go through with the Hofstede cultural dimensions between the Malaysia and Mexico. Alright, the first dimension is a power distance. Power distance refers to how much people accept the inequality and hierarchy in a society and the workplace. Alright, Malaysia has a very high power distance, and this means people strongly respect authority and seniority, and leaders are not usually questioned, and decisions are often made from the top, and employees expect the clear instructions from their superiors. But Mexico also has a high power distance, although it is slightly less than Malaysia. And in Mexico, leaders are respected and seen as authority figures, but they are also expected to be caring and involved with the employees. Okay, for the second dimension is individualism versus collectivism. Malaysia is highly collectivist society, and people prioritize group harmony, teamwork, and loyalty. In the workplace, employees often think about what is the best for the team rather than for themselves. And in Mexico, it's also collectivist culture. Strong relationships, family ties, and the trust are very important in their culture. Employees value personal connections with colleagues and managers, and teamwork is highly emphasized. And in both countries, maintaining a good relationships is more important than a personal achievement. Okay, for the third dimension is the uncertainty avoidance, which refers to how comfortable people are with uncertainty, change, and unclear situations. Malaysia has a moderate uncertainty avoidance, which is people are generally flexible and adaptable, and they are more comfortable with the change and less dependent on the strict rules. But for Mexico, on the other hand, Mexico has a high uncertainty avoidance, which is people prefer a clear rules, structured systems, and detailed instructions. Sudden change can cause a stress, so the planning and stability are important in their workplace. Okay, for the workplace aspect, the first one, in the terms of the communication styles, Malaysia tends to be indirect and more polite. Employees may avoid to say no directly to prevent a conflict or loss of face. Nonverbal cues and context play an important role. And for the Mexico, communication is more expressive and emotional, like I said before, and people use gestures, tone of voice, and facial expressions. Building personal relationship is important before discussing the business matters, and understanding these differences helps avoid miscommunication in international business. Next, let's look at the leadership, decision making, and the rewards. In Malaysia, leadership is usually hierarchical. Leaders are expected to guide employees, and decisions are often centralized. And employees may not openly disagree with their managers. In Mexico, leadership is also authority-based but more personal. Leaders are expected to show care and build strong relationships with their team. For decision making, both countries rely heavily on the leaders. However, in Mexico, personal relationships can influence decisions more strongly. And in terms of the rewards and incentive, Malaysian employees value job security, group rewards, and recognition from the leaders. But Mexican employees are often motivated by monetary rewards, bonuses, and personal recognition. Alright, in conclusions, understanding culture dimension is very important in today's globalized world. This is because culture differences will influence the communications, leaderships, decision making, and motivation in the workplace. And by understanding the theories like the Hofstede's culture dimensions, organizations can reduce their misunderstandings and can improve their teamwork and also can work more effectively across the culture. And for the countries like Malaysia and Mexico, although they share some similarities, but their cultural expressions are very different. And for you guys' information, being aware of these differences help individuals and organizations succeed in international environments in the future. Alright, just that all from me for these presentations, and thank you to you guys for listening this present, and Assalamualaikum.